सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः। देवाय तस्मै नमः। देवाय तस्मै नमः। So let us chant starting with verse number 39 of the third chapter. We will chant 39, 40, 41, 42 and 43. So 5 verses. You can just follow after me. Verse number 39. Avritam jnanametena Jnanino nityavairina Kamarupena kaunteya Dushpurena nalena cha Indriyani manobuddhihi Asyadhisthanamuchyate Etairvimohayatyesha Jnanamavritya dehinam Tasmat tattvamindrayanyadau Niyamya bharatarshava Papmanam prajahihyenam Jnanavikyananashanam Indriyani paranyahuhu Indriyebhyah param manaha Manasastu para buddhihi Yo buddhe paratastu saha Evam buddhe param buddhva samstabhyatmanatmana jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadanam Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat. Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu. Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu. Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade. Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade. Karma Yogo Nama. Karma Yogo Nama. Tritiyo Adhyayah. Tritiyo Adhyayah. So, at the end of So at the end of each chapter, you will find a similar refrain. And there the important words are Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. So Brahma Vidya means the sadhya, what is to be, what has to be established. Brahma Vidya means my own understanding of, because what happens is that we are missing a key ingredient in my understanding of the life. All the other things are there, but there is a very key ingredient that I just don't think about. And that creates the whole problem. And that is the Brahman, the presence of Ishvara in myself, the very nature of Ishvara in myself. That I'm missing. And so this is called sadhya, one which has to be established. Once I establish this, then I become siddha. So this is all from the verbal root siddh or sad, either one of them. And so siddha means already established. Sadhya means which is to be established. Then sadhana, how to establish it. So the sadhana is called Yoga Shastra. Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. So means that the Bhagavad Gita tells you where to go and how to get there. So an understanding of what my, so in that sense, really speaking, we are like children who are moving around some kind of a fair. The whole life is nothing but a fair, but don't know what the result of this moving around is. This is what happens to the thinking of the children. It is not their responsibility. Not responsibility to be brought to a fair, to be asked to be careful, enjoy, but asked to be careful, and then leave the fair in having enjoyed into something which is more meaningful. So the playing of things is just it doesn't have much meaning other than just enjoying a little bit, enjoying, not total enjoyment, but some kind of an enjoyment. And the end result is a path of where I would get total enjoyment. And so Brahma Vidya is the goal, and Yoga Shastra is how to get to the goal. And this is repeated. So that's really the very essence of the Bhagavad Gita, is to understand the end result and also not just leave and say, okay, that's for you to figure out. No. It has to, some aid is given. I often think about this as well, is that, when we have a very complex puzzle, like 1,000 pieces of a picture, and you have all these. It's already been somebody's already played it, and then you put this back into some kind of a box. So you have all these 1,000 pieces lying around, and you don't know how to build it. You don't know what the picture is. They all have some small portion of some kind of a thing, and you have no idea of how it is. And the parents might feel that, try this. Go do this now. In fact, it's interesting that today, both of my granddaughters are going to spend about 6-7 hours with me. Just me. My wife and my son and daughter-in-law, they're all going to go to some monsoon wedding in Berkeley. So my daughter-in-law said, is it okay if I leave these 2 kids with you? I said, fine. I was actually going to do some studying, but that's why I didn't go to monsoon wedding. But the next thing I know is now I have to babysit them. And I have no idea what I'm going to do for 7 hours with them. These girls are all grown up. Just silly games is not going to help. So I have no idea. That's one of the things I have to do. But anyway, you have to provide some guidance on what the real goal of life is. Oh yeah, going back to the puzzle. So the puzzle is very difficult to get started with. It doesn't seem to make sense. But then the parents can say, okay, you start it. You start doing it. And then after a while you find that the person is totally flummoxed, is not really going anywhere. They'll say, well, I tell you what, these are pictures of horses grazing. And there are 7 horses. And there is a house in the background. So these are hints being given. So this is called sadhana, yoga shastra. Whereas the picture that has to be built is the Brahma Vidya. I really think that our life is a jigsaw puzzle, and a 3-dimensional jigsaw puzzle. Very complex. And we don't know how to put it all together. It doesn't seem to make sense. Just when you think that I'm getting somewhere, something happens. And it takes away your sense of trust and so on and so forth. What is the purpose of it? Not clear. And the study of Vedanta is to solve this 3-dimensional puzzle of life. There is a picture. And a picture, of course, has no real purpose. Other than a small accomplishment, you say, I solved this puzzle, wonderful, everything, and so on. But here, the solving of the 3-dimensional picture of life has an enormous benefit. In fact, I think we should understand that our very birth is an attempt to solve this 3-dimensional jigsaw puzzle. But we don't understand it. So we are moving around like a fair in life, not having some kind of a structured way of getting there. It's kind of like you do a couple of pieces of the jigsaw puzzle, then you leave it, you get frustrated, I don't know what to do, I don't know where I'm going, it's too hard, I'm not going to do that. And then if the parents can sense that I am lost, they can say, hey, no, don't give up, don't give up. Let me help you. Okay, let's do this part of it. So slow, and then what happens is, this is the real life experience, I can tell you, that as you begin to solve this 3-dimensional jigsaw puzzle, amazing things begin to happen. You begin to see the picture, and you begin to see how they all fit together. And even though you haven't solved it yet, You haven't put the whole thing. The pieces don't all fit together. But as our experience is, I'm sure that yours too, there is certain enthusiasm comes. My goodness, I'm getting somewhere. Then if the mom says, hey, your sandwich is ready, and he says, no, wait. I want to finish this. So as the pieces come together, then, and it's a great joy. Then let's say there are two kids playing together, solving it together. Then somebody will give an extra piece, and he says, oh yes, this fits together. And the joy multiplies as you come closer. So anyway, this is so the whole study of life, and the Bhagavad Gita is really nothing but an aid to the understanding. So where are we going, and what is to be done is a beautiful thing. But it requires, as we were saying earlier, a certain amount of dedication. And after a while, you become your own. Mom and dad, like Ishvara, does not have to tell you, you'd study this and so on and so forth. Your enthusiasm comes from your own self because you begin to see that it is working. So that's the value of the study of the Bhagavad Gita. Very beautiful. And so this is repeated, Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre, at the end of each chapter. And so it's interesting that each chapter, in a way, is a reiteration of the truth in complete measure. This is the advice that I got from Swami Paramarthananda in Chennai. Because I used to complain, he was telling me that, have you taught the Bhagavad Gita in its entirety? So I said, no, I haven't done that because I'm scared to do that. It'll take too long, and people will come in the middle of it, and then my advice was start from the beginning. Don't join the class in the middle. He says, I used to think the same way. But the Bhagavad Gita is like the river Ganges. You don't say that you go to the very start of the river and start from there. No. You can take a dip anywhere and it'll purify you. And so he says, my experience is that each chapter, it may have a slightly different emphasis here and there, but each chapter gives you a complete vision of what the Gita is doing, which meaning, don't be afraid to teach it over several years and let people come and go. It's okay. He says that's what worked for me, and I advise. So based on that, I decided I'm going to do that. Before that, I used to do one chapter at a time, 15th chapter, 2-3 months, then we finish it. But I'm discovering the beauty of the Gita, the connectivity of the various things, and yet completeness within each chapter. So having said that, we are now revising chapter 3. And this is another thing that I've learned, is to revise things, make things so much clearer. So much clearer. So wonderful. In fact, we will do a revision of the revision. We may not get to it today, but we will do a short revision. Within this, like in 20 minutes, we will revise the whole chapter. Anyway, that'll come later on. But at this point where we are, if you recall, so what we chanted today, 39 onwards, so just a very quick revision of that. So in 39 it says, beautiful thing, this is something I'll always remember. Avritam jnanam etena jnanino nitya vairina kama rupena kaunteya dushpurena analena cha. He says that, and if you recall, I gave this example, which is a very personal example, that if you don't know diabetes, if you don't know you are diabetic, then your attitude towards things is completely different. And it's not healthy, because you eat sugar, because you enjoy sugar, and you have no idea what is good for you, what is not good for you. But for one who has now understood that I am diabetic, sugar becomes an enemy, and you're very careful about what to eat and what not to eat. So this jnani no nitya vairina means, just understand this part of it. Just grasp this part of it. He says, for one who has understood that I am an independent Atma, who is complete in myself, not requiring support from anyone, like I am in deep sleep. So the invention of deep sleep by Ishvara is not by chance. It is to give you an idea that I can be extremely happy without depending on anything. This is the real nature of deep sleep. Swami Dayanand used to say that. He says, we all carry a kind of like a wish list. Like, supposing we ask this, supposing we give this task to you. Please write down on a piece of paper, what will make you completely happy? First of all, the question is, are you completely happy? And people will say, not really. I've got some issue. Okay, what are the issues? What will make you completely happy? So then you please write it down. So then you'll say, number one, health is also the most important thing, especially as we grow older. In the beginning, if you give this list to a child, they won't say health or anything like this. But when you start having problems, then you say health is then you say, if you have a daughter who is still not married, you'll say, get my daughter married. If you don't have a house, then you say, like this, we have a big list. And then you say, really, you have to have check off each one of these? He says, no, I'm not happy until I check off everything. Then I'll be happy. Hey, when is that going to happen? Because as you check off some things, some more things get added to the list. It will never happen. But Swami Dayanand used to say, just consider this. This is a very beautiful thing. He said, when you go to sleep, have you checked off these things? No. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Are you happy without things being checked off? Yes. So happy that we in fact don't want to get up in the morning. It's a hard thing to get up in the morning. Oh my goodness. So beautiful. All you do is just make sure pillows are okay and it's warm or cold or whatever. That's it. Then you're on your own. This really tells us something. It is not necessary nor possible to check off your things in life for you to be happy. So there, if you know that my nature is independence, and it's possible. I don't feel that yet at this moment, but it is possible. So this is what is called jnani. Jnani means that you've now understood the basics of how the whole thing is. What is the outside experience? What is the limitations of experiences? What is deep sleep? What is the nature of Atma? What is the nature of Anatma? That kind of an introduction has now been complete. It's kind of like once you know you are diabetic. It's the opposite of that. Once you know you're diabetic, then Kama Rupena, what does it say? Kama Avritam Jnanam Etena Kama Rupena Kaunteya. Then what it means is that for a jnani, any kind of a desire that takes you away from yourself, because what the desire is essentially a foreign object which has like a thorn in your body. Any desire is like a thorn. You do not accept a thorn inside your skin. It bothers you. You want to take it out. So similarly, a desire is like a thorn. You want to really take it out. Until you fulfill the desire, it bugs you. I got to do this. And what happens is, like a person that doesn't know that he's diabetic, you fulfill the desires and you say, okay, this is wonderful. Now I'm very happy. I fulfilled the desire. Okay, next thing, what will happen? You know, this is the thing. When you come to the USA, you will see this very often. Have a nice weekend. We never used to say that in India. Where is the weekend or anything like this? It is absolute. But here, it is so nice. And you know, I go for these. I go for exercises. In fact, right after the class, I'll go for my workout, and then and so there, the clerk, you know, she must know how old I am. I'm in my 70s, and she must know that I'm not working anymore. If she doesn't know, it's okay, but she should guess in it. But she says, "Have a nice weekend," to me. If there's a 25-year-old person, I can say, you know, I understand you're having a very tough life from Monday through Friday. So please relax and have fun and so on. But you know what? For me, every day is a weekend. I don't have any weekends or anything like this. But there is out of sheer habit, she will say, have a nice weekend. So I'll also say, thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. And so for a diabetic, not knowing that this is all, weekend is fun. So we go from, that's what I wanted to make sure. And so we go from one experience to the other. Today we went to a nice restaurant. Yeah, we must go there tomorrow. Something else. Let's go for this. Let's go for a vacation. Let's go for a yacht, trip. One experience after the other. But for a jnani, one who understands the independence of the Atma, when these desires come up that bother you, you are aware of it. This is the one which is hiding me from myself. How does it hide it? Because I go on literally a trip away from me, not understanding that this is my own joy, as we will see later. That's a more advanced topic. How is it this is all joys are nothing but your own joy, expressing in various forms. That I don't know. But in the meantime, any fulfillment of desire, like any sugar for a diabetic, is a trip that gets him deeper into trouble. And so this is why this is a beautiful, out of some of these verses, this one really rung home for me. Avritam jnanam etena jnaninaha nitya vairina. And why is it nitya vairina? Duspurena analena cha. Means that kama rupena avritam jnanam, a desireful pursuit of life, is insatiable, like fire. That's why nitya vairina. So for a diabetic, it is not like, you just avoid sugar today, but tomorrow you can have it. No. You please disassociate yourself forever from sugar. And you can do it. This is your own personal feeling that I've got to have, dessert after each meal. You don't need dessert after each meal. Both of my sons are great role models for me. I don't know how both of them don't eat any dessert. And once in a while, I don't mind having some chocolate or some, this, that, or the other, but both of my sons, they won't touch it. They'll say, why? I think we don't need it. They're my teachers for doing this. I'm now beginning to follow them. I also feel, yes, if they can be free of eating desserts, and I'm diabetic and they're hopefully not, just the opposite of that. It's a beautiful verse. Avritam jnanam etena jnaninaha nitya vairina kama rupena kaunteya dushpurena analena cha. So here, I thought I would interrupt this. This is why we are never going to finish this, by the way. It's going to go on. Next year you will be still in verse number 42. So you should expect that. You should really expect that. I remember Swami Dayananda used to, this happens all the time. Recently also, when Swami Viditatmananda gave the retreat, and the book that he was Kathopanishad. He was doing, and he was selected verses of Kathopanishad, so he should be able to finish it. So I met him after the retreat, and met him at the airport to say goodbye to him and so on. So I said, Swamiji, how much of the book did you cover? He says, I don't know any idea. We didn't finish it, and we'll do it next year. So. Huh?
2 verses.
Only 2 verses?
Basically, 5, but it was all just setting up the background.
Huh.
We really didn't get into the teaching of the.
No, he didn't tell me that.
Yeah, so 6 verses the first teaching of the Yam.
Oh my gosh. Well, this happens all the time. I remember Swami Dayananda also. So we would count how many days are left. Has he covered all these verses or not? So instead of listening to the class, you're worrying about is he going to finish or not. And Swamiji sensed it. So he says, please, I may not finish it. Is it okay? We'll do it some other time. So we may not be able to finish it. Anyway, this is a topic that when we talk about kama rupena, and so this karma and the desire is something that we need to really explore a little bit more. And I'll give you one aspect of that, a very important aspect of that, very important aspect. So we can take a detour of these verses and then just look at it. So there, if you look at your life, what you will find is that your activity is governed by 2 kinds of things that ask you to do things. 2 kinds of things. One is which is within karma, and one which is not. How can you say that? So, and this is true for everything. Everything. So for instance, your breathing is not something that you say that I want to breathe. Yes, you want to breathe in case you are supposing somebody's choking you. Somebody's choking you and then you cannot breathe and you want to live. That's a different thing. It's a very extreme case and that's not the important thing. But in your life, you don't say, why are you breathing? Hey, why am I breathing? I'm not even aware of the fact that I'm breathing until you brought it up. You don't breathe because you feel, you know what? I'm going to take the next breath. Because if I'm not taking the next breath, then I will be... You can't, you know, this is interesting. No one until now has committed suicide by holding their own breath. It's not possible. I was thinking about it. One time I really thought about it. I said, you know, people find all kinds of... Supposing you want to end your life because you feel that things are really bad, I can't handle this anymore. Other life may be better. This is also an important thing, that how come the desire to live is not there in a person who is suicidal. So the Shastra says, no, you cannot say that. The desire to live for a suicidal person is also there because they feel, I don't want to live here. There must be a better life other than plus. So there the desire is also there. But you cannot commit suicide by, you find a variety of ways. You jump into, from Golden Gate Bridge. Yes. You stand in front of a Caltrain. Yes, that's possible. You hang yourself. Yes, possible. All kinds of things. But you cannot commit suicide by holding your own breath. I used to wonder that. Why can't people just do that and say, I'm going to end my... You cannot do that. So breathing is not under karma. So make a note of that. It's interesting. So we have two categories. One category is within karma, and one is without karma. So breathe, and in fact, it's interesting, the most essential things that you have in your life are without karma. Like, for example, hunger. Yeah, hunger is created by Ishvara. So another thing, by the way, the karma is primarily manufactured by a jiva, and a non-karma is primarily manufactured by Ishvara. So for instance, hunger. Hunger is created by Ishvara and necessary to be created by Ishvara because life has to be supported with food. You are not a stone. You are a live person. Every living person is because of food. And the food is already provided. It's already provided. I see this, some pieces of some insect or something that has died. Immediately you find the ants get to it. And they find, there's some food. Some beetle has died or something like this, and the ants actually carry them on their back. This is an amazing thing. They say the science has not figured it out. How can a lightweight ant carry these huge things on the back of their back? Must they do it? They say, I think we better take it. Nobody else will take it. So food is a manufacture of Ishvara. Hunger is a manufacture of Ishvara. You don't need... Now where karma comes in is not any food. It should be tasty food. This is what happens. They'll say, which should we go to? I am tired of going to Indian restaurants. Let's go to a Mexican restaurant today. Karma. It is not to eat, to live, but to enjoy yourself. This is where we need to really be we need to think about it, is where is it that I am imposing my own karma? Whereas if it is Ishvara's karma, which is a non-karma, then I am happy to live with it and really focus my attention towards the development of my own sadhya and sadhana and so on and so forth. So this is a theme which is going to be come up again and again in the Gita. And so, yeah, this is why kama rupena kaunteya dushpurena analena cha. So he says, the knowledge is covered by this insatiable fire of desire, the constant enemy of the wise, O Kaunteya, O Arjuna. We did all that. Then, on verse number 40 that we also did also before, I think I want to finish this today, So then the next thing was that if karma is an enemy, hiding myself from myself, where is it coming from? Where is it located? We were talking about it in the earlier class also, that if you are in a police deployment in Kashmir and all of a sudden you're being fired upon, you need to protect yourself immediately and then figure out where the firing is coming from which direction. So that's why it says, Indriyani mano buddhihi asya adhishthanam uchyate. He says the karma appears in the following places. Indriyani. So the desire for your sense organs, they communicate the karma. Then manaha. Manaha means your own ideas. Wouldn't it be nice if we did this today? Manaha. Hey, you don't have to do anything. Just be happy with your... No, I'm not happy. I gotta go someplace. Okay, manaha. Then buddhihi. Buddhihi means a non-understanding how the whole thing works. Who am I? What should I be doing? So not just emotional ideas like manaha, but even a well-reasoned thinking which says, human beings are made like this. Let's just have fun. What is the need for study or anything like this? This is called buddhi. He says adhishthanam uchyate. Adhisthana means that is where the karma appears. Etaihi vimohayati eshaha jnanam avritya tehinam. He says how it hides yourself from yourself. That's what it was. Therefore, so if that's the case, what should be done? Tasmat tvam indriyani adau niyamya bharatarshava papmanam prajahi hi enam jnana vijnana nashanam. So he says, please do not pay attention to the karma. So here the famous thing is, please understand who is the tail and who is the dog. It's like the tail wagging the dog. Here Swami Tattvavidanandaji, I think he said one thing that really hit the home with me, like was 7, 8, 10 years ago. He said, our mind can be likened to children. Very useful analogy, really. I've really gained a lot from just following that. So, so for example, all of those of us that have young children, they really behave in a very limited way. They just want to just have some fun. There's no overall structure to their life yet, which is appropriate. This is the way it should be. So if you just keep following them, okay, Mom, let's go here. Let's do this. Let's do that. You have all these kinds of things. You can do that if you want to. And in fact, this is what happens sometimes. Our parents are too kind to their children and don't give them the proper education that no, this is not the thing. I think you played enough. I think you should now do this. We just don't do that enough. So we just go along with them. So Swamiji says that looking at your mind as children is a very useful thing to do for several reasons. One of the most important reasons is that if your mind comes up with some ideas, thoughts and so on, and you immediately own them up, like your mind says, wouldn't it be nice, let's go to a movie today. And then you say, aha, that's a good idea, let's go to a movie today. 3 hours gone, money gone, a lot of popcorn and so on and so forth. What do you gain out of it? Oh, I saw a movie, then you can talk to some friends and so on. That's the end of it. So, if you keep on following your mind as owning it up, then you just do what the mind tells you to do. It's like you're following your children. So, by viewing your mind as a child, some very beautiful things happen. Most important one is you have a separation of yourself from your mind. Just like, for example, if your children propose something which is silly, for a lack of a better word, then you can say the children are silly. This is the way they are. And you allow them to be silly for a while. Playing with balloons. I remember when my grandkids were younger, we used to go to the Mountain View farmer's market. And my wife and I would go to buy some fresh vegetables and so on. There was a guy who used to make balloons for the kids. He still is there, I'm sure. We haven't been there now for a while. And this is a very interesting thing. They twist all these balloons to make, beautiful things and roses and so on and so forth. $5. And the kids cannot pass by without saying, can we please have one? So we used to avoid going there, go from another way, because there's 2 girls, each one of them wants a $5 balloon, $10 gone. But they knew where these guys are, so you cannot avoid it. Sure enough, silly. And after about a half hour or so, the balloon is finished. It's gone. They don't need either burst or they lose the interest on it. $10 are gone. Silly. But you know what? You allow them. It's good that they're let them have some fun and so on. So in this modeling by Swami Tattvavidarananda, this is a very beautiful thing. You see your mind to be childlike. How can we say that? How can we say that our mind is like a child? Yes, it is appropriate. You know how we can say that? Because a child is not yet grown up. Their fascination for silly things like balloons is important to them. They have no value of money. They don't understand how little the enjoyment is. They don't know that. Similarly, our mind does not have complete information about what life is, who I am. So this is a very beautiful thing to see. You see, this is the thing. The Jivatma, that means you and I as a person is the same Atma as Paramatma. Same Atma, as we will explain in our, not similar, it is the same. But the Jivatma does not know that I am an independent person. I don't know that. So the Mahima, the grandeur of Paramatma, is not yet owned by me. I am just, it is just like a room space. I just look upon myself as a room space. I don't look upon myself as a total space. There is no difference. So the room space and the kitchen space and the hall space are not different spaces. Space is not a conglomeration of all these small spaces. It is the same space. So the Jivatma does not know. Does not know. And the mind is the one that defines the Jivatma. How does it define that I am just a limited person, born and soon and so hurtling towards the death and problems in life? Also, this is the Jivatvam. That Jivatvam is created by the mind. And so, if I look upon my mind as a child that does not know, then two things happen. One is that I create a distance between myself and my mind. Just like a parent can also say, let them be silly. It's okay. Similarly, you can say to your mind, that's a silly desire that you have, but you know what? Let's do it. It's okay. But next time, if you come out with a silly desire, I may say no to you. So this kind of relationship between yourself and your mind is very useful to see. So this is what Krishna is saying. Tasmat tvam indriyani adau niyamya bharatarshava. Please remember to say no to your own desires from time to time. Because the desire, your mind, a desireful mind, doesn't know what it's doing. Don't follow it all the time. Once in a while it's okay. But imagine yourself, not imagine, but to see yourself as being independent, as an adult. Be an adult. Be a mature person, devoid of the influence of your mind. Then you will say, I am going somewhere, I don't want to miss the train. I have a Swami Viditatmananda had given this very beautiful example. He said, like for example, this doesn't happen all that much, but generally happens if you buy a new car. So you buy a new car and you get into it and you're enjoying, it's a major piece of hardware, especially these days with all kinds of bells and whistles and safety features and this, that, or the other. And when you start driving, you don't have any particular direction to go. Because you know why? You're enjoying the car, not the way. You're not, anywhere you're going, you're just enjoying the car. So you turn left, then you're saying, wow, nice turning circle. Make a U-turn, oh, beautiful, I can do that. Your focus is the car, your enjoyment, how I got a new car. And you might even go to some friend's place just to show off. I bought a new car and stuff like this. Contrasted this with, you have to catch a plane. Now your driving has a completely different purpose. Even if it's a new car, doesn't matter. You look at your watch and say, I have to be there in half hour. You look at Google Maps to make sure, Waze, that there's no cops standing on the way and you don't have all these kinds of obstructions and so on and so forth. And your purpose is to get to the airport on time. And so this is what is called Niyamya Bharatarshava. For an adult, for a mature person, be sure where you're going. And it's very possible it's on the way, the children might say that, can we go this way? Because then you say, yes, it is within my time frame. We can go a little bit this way. It's okay. Then you make a detour. But you don't lose sight of where you're going. So similarly here also, Krishna is because remember, if you recall this last few pieces of advice, where Arjuna says, on verse number 36, beautiful question. Arjuna uvacha atha ken prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha anichhanapi varshneya baladiva niyojitaha. So Arjuna says, you're giving me some advice. I understand all the things, but here's my problem. My mind is just taking me because I can't go where I want to go. How is that possible? Who's really, who's impeding my progress? Why can't I think the way you're doing it? Because I have some kind of a power is impelling me. How do I deal with that? Then Krishna, as you know, starts this section. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajoguna Samudbhava Mahashano Mahapapma Vidhi Enam Iha Vairinam. He says that yes, there is there are powers. There are powers, no doubt about it. And so remember, I just want to revise that just to recollect it. So again, a very, very important and a very beautiful thing. So what Krishna was saying was, and all the acharyas detailed this very well, is that your situations are brought up to you which are part of the prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma means one that has already begun very well and you have no control over it. That's for true. But what happens is that each prarabdha karma also leaves certain marks that allow you the freedom to go in a different direction in the future. Leave a certain mark. This is called samskaras or vasanas. So for instance, let's just take an example. So supposing you end up in some kind of a nice restaurant where the food is good but also very expensive. Okay? And you have some friends that all decided, let's go there. And so you have no choice, because in the sense that the friends have asked you, even though that is not your favorite restaurant, but the food is good and it's also expensive, so you go there. So your going there is prarabdha, because your friends have asked you to go. But whether you go there again, Whether you say this was a great food, I need to make that dish myself, or I need to go to a similar restaurant or the same restaurant again, is purely up to you. So Krishna is saying, yes, Arjuna, you are right, that your mind, because of prarabdha karma, gets you into situation as though you are not in control. I agree with that. But that's really not the end of your life, because every next step in your life, the future, gives you the choices. Up to this point, this has happened. But from now on, the samskaras and vasanas leave a certain wake in their behind it, and you can deal with it. So Arjuna was saying that where is the free will? I don't have any free will. My mind just takes me anywhere. He says, up to a point, you're right. To a point, there is no free will. But for most purposes, your next step requires you to exercise your free will. And so that's what, and that whole thought is being carried through in here. So, tasmat tvam indriyadau niyamya bharatarshava papmanam prajahihi enam jnana vijnana nashanam. And so we indriyani. So let's to finish it off. Then it says how the arrangement of these sadhanas are, which is indriyani. Ahu indriyebhyah param manaha manasastu para buddhihi buddhehe parasastutaha saha. How each one of them is superseded by something more powerful. And so all of that was given. I won't go through this. I want to finish this chapter today. And so that was all given in terms of the relative importance of each one of them. So the word paraha. So paraha is an important word that we should understand the meaning of. The word paraha means one which is more powerful, one which is more pervasive, one which lasts longer, one which is more important, and one which is closer to you. All these definitions can be given to the word paraha. Excuse me. So for example, just a very quick example of that. Compared to a golden ornament, the gold is paraha. How? The gold is the karanam, the cause, the material, the substance of the golden ornament. It is more pervasive. The ornament is limited, the gold is less limited. The ornament is vulnerable, the gold is less vulnerable. It cannot break. The ornament can break, but the gold cannot break, etc., etc. There's about 5 or 6 different things. And so that degree of comparison between the various instruments that you have, indriyani, outside things, then the sense organs, then your mind, then your buddhi. And then he says in the end, buddhehe paratastu saha. Compared to all of them, you are the most paraha. Paratastu saha. And you please understand this. By segmenting each one of these pieces one by one, you get to, so this is what is called, this is called the nyaya which we also saw in Taittiriya Upanishad, which is Panchakosha Viveka, that by going from outer to inner, you come up to the very last one, which is yourself. And right now you're not even thinking about yourself as an independent one. But the method to look upon this is to go step by step and to see which one is more paraha, with arguments, with logic. And then you come to the last one, which is the last one where it cannot be anything better than that. Not possible to be. So that's the logic of that. And then it says in the very last one, which is that the result of all of this, the result of all of that is really the one where we should see as the ultimate, which is Vishnu's Padam, the final, which is an understanding of yourself as the ultimate goal to be reached, of understanding that really there is no difference between yourself, the Jivatma, and the Paramatma. In fact, the Jivatma disappears, only Paramatma remains. Very much like the ultimate of understanding, the room spaceness is spaceness. It's like saying, supposing the room space has some kind of a self-identity, it has some awareness. And the room space, he says, how are you doing, room space? He says, well, I don't know. I wish I was the big hall. Why do you want to be the big hall? When you have really important people come, they come there. This is just a small class. I am not given any respect here. But look at this hall. When Swami Viditatmananda comes, 200 people come, that's where they go. So I want to be like that. It says, okay, it's very difficult, but okay, we'll dismantle this and create a new one, which will be as big as the other one. And then you have to pay money and this, that, or the other. Then after a while you say, how are you doing? I'm very happy, this is good. But this concert hall in San Jose that has 2,600 people, that is what I want to get. And then you keep saying, hey, you don't understand this. You are already as big as it can be. He says, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I don't get it. You and I don't have the same language. I just want to be the biggest concert hall there is in the world, where this is what happened when we were doing this Shankar Mahadevan concert. My wife was telling me, she says, do you know when Arjit Singh came, there were 20,000 people in that hall, and we are trying to get 1,000 people. And we said, my goodness, what a big hall that must have been. So like that, and then finally someone says, you don't understand, you are the whole space. Get rid of this false feeling that you are enclosed by the upadhi of the walls. In fact, you are enclosing all the upadhis are within you. Finally, when that dawns, you are free. So that's how each chapter finishes. And what I will do now is Swami Paramarthananda has given a very beautiful summary of the entire chapter, which will take about 15-20 minutes to do. So I will do that next time. So the revision of the revision. So you have a good idea of how the Karma Yoga chapter goes. So we will do that, and then we will begin chapter 4. finally. How many weeks we must have spent? I don't know if somebody has any. I think we must have spent like 4 months on this chapter 3. Anyway, it's a lot of fun, a lot of pleasure. So with that, let's probably not much time for questions today, but good to have you. Okay. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. We do have time for a few questions, but if you have any. Yeah.
This calm, he's saying, get away from it because it's your regular enemy. Is it to purify your chitta?
Yes, but I think the understanding of purification of the chitta means you should see the ultimate understanding of what that means. What it means is that you are still unnecessarily occupied by your own smallness. This is what we were talking about, the Jivatma. The Jivatma is an understanding of my focus on my smallness because of a lack of understanding. So this is what Chitta Shuddhi means, that you are unnecessarily worrying about small things that don't concern you. You're putting your smallness on yourself, which is not necessary. And how is that possible? Because my experience is smallness. Yes, your experience is smallness, but the experience is also not truthful. Kind of seeing something which is not there. Like the classical example of the snake and rope. So you see a snake in there, and you say, well, that's my experience. Then you say, yes, it's your experience. But that is not a truthful representation. So the Chitta Shuddhi means that your mind should be made pure so that you can understand your own greatness. The Jivatma should understand that it is Paramatma.
This in other place he says Abhyasena tu konte vairagyen. So is it that we will be detached from this and because there is nothing in it, and then you will be established in yourself?
So there the Abhyasena means that you may get glimpses of it in the beginning. You may get some glimpses, but it's not really, it's not an established thing yet. So you need to slowly begin to spend more attention towards yourself as a Paramatma. Because the effect of Prarabdha Karma is not easy. It just goes very slowly. But it as a start is to understand, so this is the whole idea about the Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasanam. That first you understand the logic behind your own greatness. Then you attack it with all possible ways of saying why this cannot be true or why this can be true, which is Mananam. And then finally the very phalam, the very fruits of this understanding, bring home to yourself and do it with some abhyasa. Do with very regularity. Just like you So what our teachers are saying is that supposing you feel, even that is not really there, but supposing in a class you feel, yes, I understand. It doesn't really happen that easily even in the classroom, but at least you say yes. But then you're spending 23 hours outside of the classroom with doing trivial things, and 1 hour in the classroom doing something meaningful. So where is it's like a taraju, it's a scale, until you really make this side weightier and the other side, so this is the abhyasa. Then how is this going to become a reality for you? It will take a little while to do. So all this is nothing, there's no magic or anything like this. This is the way it has to be. Everybody has to go through that. Yeah, that's all. Okay, very good. See you next time. Oh.